Hi, this is Dan Bullard, retired electronics engineer. I'm a fanatic of my houseboat. It's really cool. I went swimming 2 days ago in this. It's like 60 degrees. The water's 60 degrees. But, you know, when it's 85 or getting close to 90, it feels pretty good. I want to talk a little bit about something I want you to do. I can't do it. My laptop is dead. I can't do it anymore. So it's up to you. But you may remember that I showed you the Bullard Harmonic Solution, and basically it's just a rectified cosine wave. And you'll say, well, hang on a minute, that's not what the harmonics look like. Yeah, it is. Except that they're also on a plane, and we'll see if I can do it the right way. It's on a slope, and so normally you see the lower harmonics are bigger, and the higher harmonics are smaller. And so, why is that? Well, it's not going to be Bullard laws of anything, because like I said, I'm not going to do it anymore, but you could figure it out. And it's really fucking simple. Okay, really simple. Do you know what it is? The rate that it falls off, the rate that the harmonics fall off, is due to the width. That is the time of the distortion. And so the wider the distortion is, the more it slopes down, but it always goes down to some low value, but the higher it is in the lower frequencies. And notice I'm doing this on your side, so for me it would be, lower frequencies. No, for you it's lower frequencies, and then it rolls off to higher frequencies. Okay, so it's the width. And how do I know this? The Bullard Harmonic Solution, you'll see there's no width at all. It only works for a single impulse in the sine wave. Well, two impulses in the sine wave. One at one end and one at the other. Sounds like we got another potato truck coming by. If you remember last year at this time, I couldn't make videos here because the potato trucks were running. Well, guess what? They're mostly done. Mostly. But here goes a potato truck right now. That's why I couldn't do it. I couldn't make a video. That was a really cool video too. Anyway, the lower harmonics are much bigger in amplitude, and how big they are depends on the width of the distortion. And so distortions that are very narrow have no slope at all. It's just constant whatever, humping. But if it has some width, the lower harmonics will be higher in amplitude. And I did an article in that on LinkedIn, and I don't even know what it's called, but you can go look around. But you can figure this out, and it's really not that hard. You know why? It's just the width. It's the width of the entire wave. And what's the worst? The way I did this is I looked at the worst case. I looked at clipping the very peak and clipping the zero crossing, and kaboom. I figured out the Bullard Harmonic Solution. So you can figure out the insert your name here solution by looking at a square wave. Now remember that a square wave, 50% duty cycle square wave, has no even harmonics. Well, let's remember that they're really there. Law 3 says they're there, but they get canceled out. And that's really true. That's really absolutely true. That's the only way to think about it. The guys at Applicos, they didn't understand that. The guys at Audio Precision, they didn't understand that. You always look at it that way, okay? So the even harmonics are there. They're just inverted. And so you can basically say it's the same amplitude as the odd harmonics in the right amplitude, in the right order. And so in my book, Distortion, I show a square wave, which the harmonics fall off at 1 over the harmonic number. Remember, that both sides completely distorted. Both sides, every point is distorted. And so with every point, the full width of the wave distorted, the harmonics fall off at 1 over the harmonic number. If there's no width, if you do a single impulse, what's the spectrum? It's absolutely flat. Absolutely flat. It tells you the two endpoints, doesn't it? A square wave, falls off at 1 over the harmonic number, and even if it's, don't forget that the Bullard Harmonic Solution still goes in there, but you could ignore that for a minute. Why does that overall slope happen? Because of the width. And so 1 over the harmonic number for a square wave, whether it's odd or even, you could really say the even harmonics have those two amplitudes together, but they're 180 degrees out of phase. So you could say that they're there. And so it'd be 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, 1/7, and so on. But if there's a single impulse, it's absolutely flat. Now that gives you the 2 endpoints. You're good to go. You can figure it out from there. And if you go get, I don't want to say you got to buy my book, but if you figure out the Bullard Harmonic Solution and you combine it with what you figured out, you could get the whole thing in one fell swoop. You could be the new Einstein or the new whatever, you know. I'm like Einstein. I can't figure out the grand unification theory, but you know, I figured out some other stuff too. You know, so there is that. Anyway, so think about that. It's really not that hard to do this stuff. If you've got a PC with Excel, you can do FFTs. Take my examples, turn them into real programs where you can like try something and try some experiments and do some stuff, and maybe you'll figure it out. And if you do, you can be in the history books, and I think that would be great. I think you should try it. Okay? So once again, from the river, this is Dan Bullard. See you later.